Hello friends, this is Joanne and welcome to a new tutorial. In this episode, we're gonna make the Bloom's convertible bag. This is a lovely bag that can be worn in few different styles. You can wear it full size like this, or you can wear this as a fold over bag just like that when you carry fewer items. And of course, this can be worn as a crossbody or a shoulder bag since it has the adjustable strap. The finished measurements of this bag are approximately 14 inch by 14 inch by 4 inch deep. And when it's worn as a fold-over bag, the measurements are 14 inch by 10 inch. On the front exterior, there is a small zipper pocket and a slip pocket. And inside, there is a zipper pocket and 3 slip pockets as well. This is also a fat quarter friendly project. For the exterior of the bag, I use 3 fat quarters and of course, additional yardage for the strap and for the interior of the bag. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and without further ado, let's get started. Alright, we're gonna first prepare the panels for front exterior. So these two are panel A. So you wanna cut 2 identical rectangles. Fuse the wrong side with fusible fleece that you cut 1 inch smaller, and of course center the position. And this one is panel B. You want to cut this from fabric 2. Also apply fusible fleece to the wrong side. Now we're going to work on the front exterior pocket. So you want to prepare panel 2 and panel 3, or the lower zipper panels. Fuse the wrong side of the main fabric or panel 2 with fusible woven interfacing. So if you wonder why I use a different fabric for panel 2, it's because I accidentally deleted this particular part of the footage, hence the substitute footage, so please don't get confused. Lay panel 2 right side up and then take the zipper and lay that right side down. So the zipper pull should be at your left hand side. Now take panel 3 and lay that right side down. Of course, you want to align the top and the side edges. Now you want to secure them in place with some clips, and then we're going to sew this with 1/4 inch of seam allowance, and it might be easier if you unzip the zipper before sewing. And once you've done that, you want to press the seams, both the exterior and the interior as well, and then top stitch. Now you want to take panel 1 or the upper zipper panel, and of course you want to apply fusible woven interfacing on the wrong side. Now if your fabric has directional print, you want to rotate this at 180 degrees so that the bottom edges is at the top. Now you want to take the zipper panel and lay that right side down, aligning the top edges of the zipper and the bottom edges of panel 1. Now take the bottom edge of the inner pocket or panel 3 and bring that up to the top edge, just like that. Secure them in place with some sewing clips and then sew with 1/4 inch of seam allowance. And once you've done sewing, you want to press the seams, of course, and then top stitch. Now you want to take panel 4 and lay that right side down, and then stitch along the top edges with 1/4 inch of seam allowance. Press the seams open and then fold wrong sides together. Then you want to press the top edges and top stitch. Now if you've got any excess zipper, you may trim that off now, and then sew the sides and the bottom with 1/4 inch of seam allowance. And voila, our front zipper pocket is done. Now take panel B and lay that right side up, and then lay your front pocket piece right side up. Secure them in place with some sewing clips, and then sew the front pocket in place with 1/4 inch of seam allowance. Alright, so you're gonna end up with something like this. Now take panel A and then lay that to one of the side of panel B, right side down. Now you can clip them in place and then sew with 1/2 inch of seam allowance. Now you want to finger press and then top stitch. Now we're gonna sew the other side pretty much the same way. Next, we're gonna work on the lower panel or panel C. So I wanted my lower panel to have a little bit of structure. So I'm gonna use foam stabilizer. This one is a sew-in kind from Soft and Stable. You may also use the fusible one. Now you can also use fusible fleece, obviously, if you are fine with softer bottom. Alright, so I'm just gonna lay the foam stabilizer to the wrong side of panel C and then stitch all around with 1/4 inch of seam allowance. So you want to make 2 of these, one for the front exterior and one for the back exterior. Alright, now we're going to sew panel C to the bottom part of the upper panel with 1/2 inch of seam allowance. And once you've done that, you can finger press and top stitch. I sew on both sides of the seam line about 1/4 inch away just to reinforce the bottom part. And there you go guys, our front exterior is done. Now let's work on the back exterior. So you want to prepare panel D and panel C. Fuse the wrong side of panel D with fusible fleece. Now we're going to sew them together with 1/2 inch of seam allowance. Now we're going to work on the handles. So you want to cut 2 rectangles and apply the fusible woven interfacing to the wrong side. Now as usual, we're going to do the folding and pressing method. If you followed me for a while, you probably already know how to do this by heart. So we're going to start by folding the short sides towards the wrong side about 1/2 inch and then press. Fold the strap lengthwise and then press, and then fold the long sides towards the center fold and press, and then fold everything in half again and press. Sew all around with 1/8 inch of seam allowance starting from the open edge. To determine the position of the strap, you want to measure 4 inches from the side, so it should be right on the seams, about 3 inches down from the top. And then with your disappearing fabric marker, you may put a little mark there. Cut a piece of basting tape about 3 inches long and then position that right on the 3-inch point mark, just like that. And repeat the same to the opposite side. Now you can peel the top layer off. Now we're going to position the end of the straps right on the marks that we created. Of course, you want to center the position and then gently press with your fingers to make sure that the strap will be sticking to the basting tape. And I like to double check again to make sure my strap isn't twisted. Now you may add a couple of clips along the top edges to make it more secured. Measure 1.5 inch from the end of the strap and then draw a horizontal line just like shown here. So when you sew, you want to simply make a rectangle following the 1.5 inch mark and the existing seam line of the strap, and make an X on the center as well. So go ahead and sew following the lines that you drew, and as always, I highly recommend to use walking foot to ensure that all the layers are being fed evenly, and it will make your life much easier. Now you want to repeat pretty much the same way for the back exterior handle. Now before you sew, you want to take the front exterior and lay that on top of the back exterior, just to make sure that both handles are at the same position. Now we're going to work on the D-ring tabs. So you want to prepare a rectangle measuring 10 inch by 4 inch. And you want to fold and press them just like when you did the handle. The only difference is you don't need to fold the short sides, so you can leave the raw edges. Now stitch along the long sides with 1/8 inch of seam allowance. Now we're going to divide this strip into 4. So you want to measure 2.5 inch and cut. So you should end up with 4 2.5 inch by 1 inch strips. Now we're going to install the lower tabs for the fold over look. So go ahead and attach the D-ring and then position that on the side edge of your bag about 3.5 inch down from the top. Just like that. Now go ahead and stitch this in place with 1/4 inch of seam allowance. At the bottom edge of your exterior pieces, you want to cut 2 inches square notches in order to box the corners of the bag. Lay the front and back exterior pieces right sides together, clip them in place, and then sew the sides and the bottom with 1/2 inch of seam allowance. When you're done, you want to open the bottom corner, Match the seams and then sew with 1/2 inch of seam allowance. And you should end up with something like this. Now let's turn the bag right side out. Now we're going to install the remaining D-ring tabs. So go ahead and attach the D-ring and then position that on the top edge of the bag right on the side seams. And of course you want to center the position. Secure that in place with a clip. Repeat the same to the opposite side and then sew with 1/4 inch of seam allowance. For the adjustable strap, you will need to cut a 55-inch long strip. Now if you use cotton quilting fabric which is only 42 inches wide, you may need to join 2 strips together to get the desired length. Apply the wrong side with fusible woven interfacing. And we're gonna sew the strap pretty much the same way we did with the handles. And once you've sewn your strap, you can go ahead and install the hardwares. Now I'm pretty sure you already know how to attach the hardwares. However, if you are new and you need the tutorial, I will link a video where I demonstrated how to attach the hardwares. You can find it somewhere in the description box below. Next, we're gonna work on the back interior. So prepare panel E and panel F. So you want to cut 2 each for the front and back of the lining. Fuse the wrong side of panel E with fusible woven interfacing. And then sew panel E and panel F right sides together with 1/2 inch of seam allowance. Now you want to press the seams and top stitch. Now we're going to work on the zipper pocket. So prepare the pocket piece. Apply a little bit of fusible woven interfacing, about 1/2 inch down from the top edge to stabilize the area for the zipper template. Now take one of the interior. Also you want to apply a little bit of fusible woven interfacing to the wrong side, about 5 inch down from the top edge. Of course you want to center the position. For the zipper template, you want to draw a rectangle measuring 8 inch by 3/8 of an inch. Draw a line right on the center, and then you want to draw diagonal lines forming little triangles at the corners. Now lay the pocket piece on the right side of the interior piece, about 5 inch down from the top. Pop a couple of pins to secure them in place, and then stitch all around the outer line. Now I'm pretty sure many of you already know the rest of the steps. However, if you are new and you need the detailed directions, I will link a different tutorial where I demonstrated how to attach this type of pocket. Simply follow the exact steps on that video. Now we're gonna work on the slip pockets. So you wanna fold the short sides of your pocket piece in half, right sides together, and then sew with 1/4 inch of seam allowance. Press the seams open, turn the fabric inside out, and then you can press this again, and then top stitch along the top edges. We're gonna divide the slip pocket into 3 slots. So go ahead and draw 2 vertical lines about 5 inches apart, and these are going to be the seam lines to divide the pocket. Position that on the right side of the interior piece, about 5.5 inch down from the top edge. Secure them in place with a couple of pins, and then sew right on the vertical lines and the sides and the bottom as well. And here I've already sewn my slip pockets. Cut the 2 inches square notches on both bottom corners of your interior pieces, just like the exterior. And then you want to assemble the interior pretty much the same way as the exterior, leaving about 4 to 5 inches of opening at the bottom to turn the bag inside out later. Now let's turn this piece right side out. Next, we're going to attach the magnetic snap closure. So you want to measure 1.5 inch down from the top, right on the center of course. So you want to install the magnetic snap closure on that 1.5 inch point mark. The female magnetic snap should be installed to the back side of the interior, or the one with the zipper pocket. And the male magnetic snap should be installed to the front side of the interior, or the one with the slip pockets. Now it's time to assemble the bag. So first we're gonna turn the exterior wrong side out. I just noticed that I haven't trimmed the excess basting tape when sewing the handle, so I'm just going to do that now. Insert the back interior into the exterior, making sure that the front side of the interior is facing the front side of the exterior and the back side of the interior is facing the back side of the exterior. Now we're gonna secure them in place with some sewing clips. I like to start by matching the side seams. And once everything is secured, we're gonna sew all around with 1/2 inch of seam allowance. And once you've done that, you wanna turn the bag right side out through the opening hole. Finger press to neaten the top edges, or you may press with an iron as well. And then top stitch along the top edges. Once you've done top stitching, you want to sew the opening hole close. So fold the raw edges towards the wrong side and then sew along the edges to close the opening. And once you've done that, you can put the interior back inside and your bag is pretty much done at this point. Now you can attach the strap. Attach that to the upper top D-rings if you want the full length look, and for the fold over look you may attach the strap to the lower D-rings. And that's about it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you next time with another fun sewing and quilting projects. Goodbye!